What's good, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's going on? This is your boy JJ, the Prince of Peace. Jay, the Prince of Peace. So with this, what I'm showing y'all today at this time is a blueprint. It's not a blueprint, but it's It's a blueprint of the blueprint of the flat Earth that we living in. Okay. So I just wanted to show y'all this real quick. Is that the Earth is really flat. I realized this in a meditative state just by thinking. Excuse me, sorry, but just by thinking, using my own brain and my own common sense, and trying to put pieces together and puzzles together. I'm using my brain. I'm thinking about this shit real hard, like I'm going deep in the rabbit hole, and I'm like, okay, this is the shit that we dealing with in this world. That people don't tell you, that you don't learn in your schools. They tell you the opposite. They say, oh, the world is round. No, the earth is flat because of, look. So let me just tell you this little thing. If you try to imagine the sun going around the earth, not even the sun going around the earth, because that's messed up. But it seems like the sun goes around the earth when the earth is flat. But for example, let's just say, for someone else that does not believe or think that the world is flat, the earth is flat, let's say the earth rotates around the sun, and the sun rises on the east, rise on the east and sets on the west. Let's say like that. The sun rises on the east and sets on the west. Or is it the opposite? I'm not sure, but so we can say that, and try to imagine that within your mind, and you will see that you cannot imagine such a thing, because of the fact is that you've never ever seen it, and the what you've been told was that there is a universe out there. Well, I got the stars right here. A universe out there for uh the whole purpose of lying to your own self, lying to you. There was the purpose of lying to you, because they did not tell you that the earth is flat and that we live inside of a dome, and the sun rises on the west and sets on the east. They didn't tell you that. Rises on the east and sets in the west. I don't know. I'm not sure which one yet, but I'm not sure right now. But scratch that. So, like I'm saying, this is the diagram of what we dealing with. The third dimension. First is height, then it's width, then it's length. In that order. All right, you got a North Pole. You got a center point. There is no inner Earth. If there is an inner Earth, then that means that the world is round, but it's not round, because I realized that the Earth is flat. You have to come to a deep thought meditation. You have to go into yourself, meditate, and try to figure this shit out for yourself. You can't listen to nobody else. You can't look at a book or a TV or internet. You can't look at this shit. You gotta figure it out for yourself. And I'm telling you, this is the truth. This is why it's so conspiracy. It's so conspiracy that this is flat Earth theory. Oh man, it's not good. Nah, this shit is real, man. The first dimension, length. The second dimension, length and width. All right, you got third dimension, height, width, and length. In that order. All right, the fourth dimension, we cannot imagine it. We can't imagine the fourth dimension, because of the fact that our imagination is not it's basically another realm. It's basically another universe, but it's a whole nother realm by itself too. Because with the fact that the matter is that the stars that we see in the night sky is actually the veil that when the Egyptian goddess I forgot her name, but she said those It says, who can unlift my veil? And this is of the veil, the stars. The universe is actually, excuse me, okay, I got gas. The universe is actually outside of this dome. If there is a universe, now the veil is the universe. The veil is actually the border dome thing. The dome, basically the dome. The veil is the dome. All right. Those who can lift the veil may something 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 yada 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 blah 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 da da da. So we haven't measured the depth of the space from the sky to the ground. The fourth dimension is length, width, height, and depth. Space and time, but space and time equals distance or it equals motion. Because of the fact is that when you walk and you walk on the sidewalk or you walk anywhere, it takes you time and you're walking in space. You're walking in time and space. The space is you're walking through space, and the time to get there to your certain destination will take you your time. So that there is time and space. That's depth, length, width, height, and depth. The fourth dimension, basically explained, but you cannot imagine it. So that's basically trying to measure the depth from the space, from the sky to the ground. Trying to figure it out on your own without mathematics or calculation. So with that being said, I want to add just a little bit more to that, to what I'm saying. You have to understand that this is a dome. What is a dome? What do you have? A dome, a mind. So when it says in the Kabbalion, all is mind, the universe is mental. What does that tell you when you see the stars out here right now in my diagram? All right, what does that tell you in the veil? You know what I'm saying? What does that tell you that this shit really is? Because what this shit really is actually you're in your own mind, and you're dreaming. All right, you're dreaming, and you're basically in the matrix, and you're asleep. Now you can be conscious but still be asleep, because that's the whole point of this matrix, is to keep you asleep, but you can still be awake. You can still be woke and conscious while you're asleep. Like you're. This is the thing. I'm not talking about when you're sleeping in bed, literally. I'm talking about your own self, your own God, like your God self that is sleeping, like the one that is actually dreaming this dream, and you're in the dream, but you're actually the self dreaming. It's kind of deep, but it's really complicated a little bit. But what I'm trying to say here is, when you wake up from the dream, you go back into another dream. There is no stop and end to this shit. Because of the fact is that no one wants you to know this, because this is the scary truth right now. Once you wake up from the dream, you go back into another dream. Once you wake up from that dream, you go back into another dream. Once you wake up, you go back to another dream. Because you keep creating dreams for yourself that ultimately keep you in an illusion or a holographic matrix, where even if you die, you'll still go back to a holographic dream or an illusion, because you can be a spirit, but you can still be having a holographic illusion, matrix experience. And this shit is endless, because this is the thing too. We live in an infinite flat plane. You see that there? This here is an infinite flat plane, and the sun goes around it. This is a dome right here. And yeah, this is a dome. Now this is the flat plane, the infinite flat plane. This is where space and time, the distance goes into, because the depth of the space and time, the distance it takes to reach infinity is infinity. It's endless. So if we're on an infinite flat plane, how can we how do we reach? So if you go from this point right here, I'm gonna just break it down. If you go from this point right here all the way to this point right here, and you measure that, you would have a calculation of a certain number. But since it's an infinite plane of existence, you can't measure the shit. Because once you walk from one point to another, like you walk around the world, there's no such thing as around the world, because the world would actually, if you went upside down, you would fall. That's how the shit will work out for you. If you went around the world, you would fall. But we're on an infinite flat plane. Because gravity, I'm gonna just draw something real quick. I'm gonna just say it like this. This is gravity. This is gravity. Gravity pulls you down. So when you have gravity pulling you down, that means that you can't be upside down. You cannot be upside down. That'd be a paradox. That would be impossible for you to be upside down and still be walking on flat ground and still not fall. But you would have to fall if you were upside down. So with that being said, you have to understand this is an infinite plane of existence, and that space and time rule this dimension, because we're basically trapped in the third dimension, but we have access to a fourth dimensional consciousness and can tap into fourth dimensional information. With the fourth dimensional information can wake up the third dimensional people and the second dimensional people. Well, yeah, the second dimensional people, third dimensional people, whatever you want to call it. And with this knowledge, you can't really access the fourth and fifth dimensional consciousness experience yet, because of the fact of the matter is that we don't have the access to that type of energy. Because see, we don't have the access to the energy, because it's like, let me just say it like this. It's like this. All right. We're basically, I'm not even sure how to fucking say this, but let's skip on to something else. My video's ending real soon. I just explained all my stuff right here. You got a dome, stars, the veil, infinite flat plane, North Pole, center pole. The North Pole is the center point. This is the real North Pole. You know what I'm saying? The shaded part right here is an indication of the Earth being flat, because there is no South Pole. There's only a North, West, and East. And that Northwest and East is the third dimension. Height, width, and length. You guys get what I'm saying? North, West, and East. Up, left, and down. Up, left, and right. You got height, which is up. You got width, which is left. You got length, which is right. So that is the third dimension. Now, if you want to imagine a fourth dimensional image, you can't imagine it, because of the fact that you're in a third dimensional perspective, and you can't perceive anything beyond the third dimension. You have to perceive third dimensional objects or two or first dimensional objects. You cannot perceive a fourth dimensional object. If you would perceive a fourth dimensional object, you would see something of like sacred geometry, or like having a DMT trip or something like that. And you would go into a fourth dimensional experience and have a fourth dimensional perspective of I want to say of basically a fourth dimensional trip of basically dreaming, another dream, which is another hologram, another illusion. It's not real. So that's why when you keep, every time even if you smoke weed, you're dreaming. Even if you pop pills, or you do shrooms or DMT or anything like that, you're dreaming. Everything is a dream. You're not going up, you're not going down. It's all a dream. You have to die to get out this matrix. You have to die. You have to kill yourself or die. I'm not saying to kill yourself. I'm saying you have to either die and go through the North Pole. You can go to the North Pole physically, and you can go into what's it called? I forgot what it was called. The north, the center point. I forgot what it was called. The gold is, what's the drink called? The compass north or something like that, where you go to the North Pole and there's like this giant hole in the earth, but I'm not sure if that's real. It could be real, but who knows? But I'm just saying, like, there's possibilities out here. I'm not saying this is a definite, but I realize that this is a flat Earth. I personally realize this. You don't have to really go on what I'm saying. You could just take it and just say, okay, he's going somewhere, but I don't think I believe in it or actually think it's facts. But you can look at it and you can say, okay, he got a blueprint here, diagram. You know, he drew this shit from his own mind. This shit is no lie. I did not look it up on a computer on how to do this. Like, I just simply use my own brain and mind to figure this shit out. The fourth dimension, the third dimension, the first and second dimension, all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So this, you gotta look it up. You gotta really look. You gotta do your research and go think. Start thinking for yourself. Start thinking for yourself and yeah, and start using your own brain, man. Start using your own brain and start thinking for yourself. That's the only way how we can actually stop all the bullshit in this world. But the whole point of this whole thing is just trying to get out the matrix. Trying to get out the matrix. That's it. That's all. Um. Yes, there's a multi-dimensional. I forgot to draw the dimensions on here, but basically, what you can do. Yeah, I did draw the dimensions on here. Yeah, okay. So the multi-dimensional, there's like multi-dimensions, which is multi means four. Um, if you go into a fifth dimensional experience, it's possible on in this lifetime, but it's still an illusion because the fact is that you did not transcend this whole dimension personally. You did not transcend like physically, so it's an illusion. It's a hologram. It's not real, but it's a real experience for you. You can basically get information and experience from that wisdom from that experience and stuff like that. I'm not knocking your spiritual experiences or knocking any dimensional experiences or travel or abilities that you might have or what people might have, but I'm saying there are things that we cannot see, like the veil. We cannot see the veil, but there is another dimension beyond this dome that we're trapped into. And the only way to escape the dome is for them to actually free us or for us to actually do something about this dome. But we can't really do much. It's really up to the earth to actually do this stuff. So if we have this, if we enable the power of earth to remove the dome, the fourth dimension will be set and you will be able to perceive the fourth dimension. And you will be able to see UFOs and all these things, the aliens and extraterrestrials, and angels, spirits, and all these things. There might actually be a war because if this dome is actually a dome like it's supposed to be, then it's probably protecting us from something out there, which is beyond the veil. So thank y'all for watching this video. Thank y'all for listening. Your boy is out, signing out. Peace. You know what I'm saying? Signing off. I'm out.